Ipswich Buses, your local bus company serving your football team. Buses run every 10 minutes. Avoid the traffic. Don't get stuck in the delay. Get Ipswich Buses today. A single from only £1.20, a return from only £2. Find out more information at www.ipswichbuses.co.uk. Ipswich Buses, proud to partner with Talking Town. Hello again, my friends, and you are my friends, and welcome to your Wednesday night's match day preview, match reaction show, the show that looks back at last night's fixture and then looks ahead to the next one. Wigan doesn't come any easier, and of course, we're here to discuss the only thing in more disarray than the UK government, Ipswich Town Football Club. So, lots to get through. Charlton last night, how are we feeling? Are we feeling still a bit delicate? Is it better now we've slept on it? Or is Cruncher still pacing his room, wearing a hole in the carpet with his anger and his upset? I've got two people on the show tonight that were both in attendance. Lots to get through. Busy chat. Don't forget, all YouTube super chats will be read out. So if you want to get your message on the screen and read out by yours truly, then YouTube super chat it or support us through Ko-Fi. Few comments we'll get through, and then we'll bring in our first contributor. Got Josh Russell, evening all, still fuming after last night. We look ahead to Saturday. Colin Plum, good evening, everyone. This is going to be a lively affair, I predict. That last night was not good enough for anyone, let alone the best fans in Division 1, bar none. Yes, none. Mike Baker, well, what a shit show. Don't know if I was more embarrassed watching the Ipswich performance or England cricket team. Yeah, that was also equally as shite. It didn't get any better. Literally, I'm not a big cricket fan, as those that watch the Ashes series will know, but I'm trying for the sake of the series. And I watched midnight. There I am. Put the kettle on. First ball out. Switched the kettle off. Went to fucking bed. I thought, bollocks to this. If they come, I'm not going to be bothered watching this. That's how they're going to play. Good evening, Rob. Welcoming Killer Bot. Matt Stannard's in the room. Lampard forever. Yes, Lampard, Terry, and Lennon mentioned today. We will get to that on tonight's show. We'll ask Rich and Mark their thoughts on those two prospective managers. Emerson Fairweather, evening all. Never dreamt that we'd be in this mess before Christmas. The next appointment is probably the most important in my 37 years of supporting Ipswich. Yes, it does feel like we're suddenly back where we were this time last year, with just chaos reigning all around. Chris Boyd, evening all. I'm only here for Plan B. Anything announced yet? Certainly not. Right, there is a new Prediction League open as well. I will just drop that link into the chat before I forget. This week's fixtures, there are 4 of them, and it is double bubble week. That's right, double points this week on all 4 games, because last week I forgot to put the name column into the fucking form. So I've got a lot of entries without a single name on them. The only person who put their name was Damien Knight. So I could either give Damien some points just for being bright, or we'll do double bubble. So we'll do double bubble. Wigan, Ipswich, Walsall, Colchester, Norwich, Man United, and Charlton versus Cambridge. Prediction League link is now flying itself into the chat. If you've not played it in a while, well, now's the time to play it. As I say, double bubble points. And while I'm waffling, a huge thank you to all of our TT Fifth Stand members. We do this every show. Just say thank you to the guys and the girls that make this platform possible, make it what it is, and allow us to bring you fantastic content. I hope you agree, with people like this. Bring in the hard truth. Richard Moss, there he is.
Just a big shout out. The ticket auction has finished this evening. Nicola Upson, £650 towards each. Thank you very much. Fantastic.
Nicola. Good Brilliant. Grief.
So I think we're up to 1,700 quid for each. I'll contact them tomorrow and see how to get the money over to.
Congratulations, Nicola.
Well, Is it congratulations, 2 director's box tickets to watch Ipswich Town? Or is it a booby prize?
I don't know. The last time I was sat next to the director's box, watching Ashton and co was quite funny.
Lovely carpet they got in there.
Is it? I wouldn't know. I've never actually been in,
nice.
but he would. That was quite humorous watching Ashton and his mates Barrow. They were pointing them quite a lot and getting quite engrossed in their conversations. I like sitting where we sat for Barrow. You know, you can just peer over to the director.
I could have a season ticket there, mine. That's a very good seat, I think.
Best of the West Stand, certainly. You can see the whole pitch.
I'm not sure if I could sit with the age range around me, because if you stand up like Colin did, you all sort of get stared at. And I think
no, the only person who's told him to sit down was me.
Well, yeah, Archie did tell me to. He told me to sit down when I give Caden Jackson a standing ovation.
Chris Boyd, we're at a lower point than 12 months ago. All the pre-season giddiness and spent and blown. Whoever in that comms team wrote inside a statement, which we'll get to as well, was laughing in the face of the fans. So you went last night. Which shit show do you want to start with first? Do you want to start with that one or the Ashes? Let's start with the Ashes before we bring Tux in. Quickly, in 5 or 10 seconds, just sum up how it's going for the guys.
I did predict 4-0 Australia, and Mark, you didn't want to do shows. You said, if England are losing, I don't want to get involved. There he was. Rory Burns walks out to bat the first ball in the series, and he gets absolutely cleaned up. And I think that's sort of, it's probably going to go like that, Martin, all through the series, I would have thought. But we never know.
Have faith. Have faith. Starts 11:30 tonight. You going to be watching it?
No, I'll probably be in bed. Might have my ears in. I've got to be up for work about 3:30 anyway. So
that's not like you. Normally, you're all over sport.
Yeah.
It
just grinds you down. Yeah, it was worse. It was bad enough watching Town last night, and then you watch England, and you think, is it really worth it?
It was. So we've got Charlton on tonight's show. I've got 3 things underneath that. I've got WTAF, what the actual fuck, back to square one, and then trust the process underlined. We've got Nsiala, obviously the incident after the game, and then we've got Lampard, Terry, and Lennon to get through, as well as Wigan preview. Lots to discuss. What time did you get home last night?
I think it was about 10 to 5 to 1, something like that.
Fucking hell, man. 10 to 1. And then you sent out George is in the room. Welcome in, George. Victoria doesn't want Frank Lampard, but we'll get to that a bit later. But Lampard, we overpaid, and what has he achieved? A big name, and that's all right. Let's cut the
Derby brought through a lot of good players at Chelsea.
Oh, yeah, he brought through Mason Mount. There it is!
Where was the ending?
Yeah, where was the ending?
I pressed the wrong fucking button at the wrong time.
That's like going to a film, Tux, and missing the last 10 minutes because the fucking
Trust me, anticlimactic. You're not the only person in my life to ever feel that way. Bollocks. Sorry, Tux. I didn't mean to. I was getting ready to bring you in, and I pressed the wrong button. Damn it. As Chris Wright says, so OTT. You want some ham with that OTT-ness. Welcome in, Mark. I've made you all laugh. That's the most important thing. How are you after last night's absolute horror show?
It's gone.
It's gone.
It's in the bin.
Get in the bin.
It's in the bin with Toto's Ipswich career.
Love the intro, says Rod Humble. Well, it gets better at the end. I just fucked it up. Right, Charlton. Should we start with what happened after the game, or should we start with the game and the players and get to that at some point? How do you want to do this tonight, lads?
Talk about the game first.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want certain people to think this is a crusade against Toto, because it's not.
It certainly isn't. And I'm actually going to be supporting him tonight. I'm actually seeing it differently to perhaps how you are and some of the people at home are seeing it. So that'll be interesting when we do get to it. But the game itself, from your perspective, Tux, sum it up really, and then we'll get into the real nitty gritty. How did you see it?
Well, we went on the train last night full of optimism. You know, we thought we was going to get maybe a win. You know, Cook going. You know, we didn't expect it, but you know, John McGreal at the helm. You think, you know, it's his club, as he's come out and said. But the players didn't turn up at all. For me, there was a few people saying that we played all right in the first 10 minutes or so, but for me, I thought we was just second best all over the pitch for the whole of the game last night. And yeah, it just lacked complete desire. I don't know what they've been doing in these little meetings that they've been having, but obviously the topic of discussion of desire didn't come up because there was one incident. I can't remember who the Charlton player was now, but I think he was a substitute that come on, and he essentially just walked past 4 of our players on the way to goal. So if that doesn't tell you what
Gilby, wasn't it?
Yeah, it might have been. It might have been Gilby. I think it was Lico. It came on.
That's it. Yes, that's it. Absolutely. Yep.
But you know, it's things like that as a fan, you pay good money to go and watch your club, right? And you know, the level of desire was just not there at all. Like the quality wasn't there. It was just second best all over the shot. Really, it's just terrible.
Truly, yeah, absolutely. And Rob Holmes, the game, no shots on target, if not for Walton, 6-0 crunch, abysmal.
Yeah, look, I'll back up everything you said there, Mark. I can handle losing, right? We're at Ipswich Town, we're in the 3rd tier. What I cannot accept is lack of commitment, lack of fight, lack of passion, lack of ideas. You know? No shots. No shots in 95 minutes. And we'd have still been there now. And we still would have been fucking pissing about with the ball. We got no tempo, Martin. We're so slow, aren't we?
Yeah.
Got no urgency. Even when we're 2-0 down, there was a stage there in the second half. Toto stands on the ball for about 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And there's no movement. Nobody's moving. You know, everyone's shouting at Toto. But fuck me. Show for him.
Yeah.
You know, make an angle or something. You know, it's just, and we never thought, I don't think us three, everyone in the chat, did we ever think that we'd be back here so soon? Because I didn't.
Yeah. Are we straight? Are we straight back to square one as we were this time last year, Crunch? You say that we're straight back to where? Where are we?
I don't know. I don't know. But what I don't
like, good for a podcast of that.
But what I don't like is the talk from the players, you know, and Mark Ashton saying that he'd met the players. They told him the season wasn't over. Players coming out like saying, yeah, sorry, Gaffer, you know, we let you down. That surprised me last night, Martin. I thought we'd show something last night. I thought, right, the manager's been sacked. We're going down to Charlton. They must have known they were going to be back to the hilt, you know, over 3,000 in that away end. It's a nightmare to get to London, you know. Tux, you were saying about the trains going home. But getting into London, the weather was absolutely pissing down, Martin, when I went down to M11. Do players actually realise this? Do they realise how lucky they are? You know, do they realise? I don't know they do.
Well, they will say they do, of course, Tux. You know, and that's all they can say, really.
Yeah.
But was it a simple case of the game came too early? The game, you know, you've had Cook sacked late Saturday night. You've had to say goodbye to a manager. Then a new guy comes in, having only arrived himself on the Thursday or the Friday. It's a lot to get to process as a man, as a human, as a player. And then you've only got a game to prepare for. Is it a case of the game just came too quickly for perhaps their mental state to process all the changes?
Well, maybe a tiny element of it potentially. I mean, it's not ideal, but at the same time, I feel like we're kind of making excuses for them. You know, this is not the first time in these. You know, I think Edmondson said it after the game that, you know, players have been at different clubs and experienced this kind of, you know, sacking a manager and stuff like that. Every player's experienced that.
Yeah.
But you know, when a manager comes in, you want to then play for that manager because essentially you're playing for your future. You know, you've got a January transfer window on the horizon. If you still want to play for Ipswich, you'd be busting your gut, wouldn't you? And quite frankly, these players that got brought in the summer, this is, you know, for some of them, this is their biggest move that they've had in their career so far, and probably likely to have. So, you know, I think it's probably a little bit of excuses there. But I was really disappointed with just didn't turn up at all for McGreal. And like Crunch was saying that, you know, people like Sam Morsey saying that we didn't do any, you know, we didn't do enough for Cook and stuff like that. We should be better. Well, where was that last night then? You know, there's absolutely no, you know, nothing there to give me any kind of optimism that, you know, McGreal's going to do anything for us, because last night sort of proved that for me. But a player like Sam Morsey, he was just absolutely AWOL last night. I mean, you know, it's his job is to take the ball from the defence and then give that to go forward. Wasn't showing for the ball at all last night. And you're like, this is meant to be a Championship player that's come down to the league, league below.
Yeah,
and I thought quality player, quality signing. And so far, he's just got worse with every game I've seen.
Yeah. Chris Boyd, fair play to Edmondson Crunch for fronting up to the camera and looking and sounding like he did. Give a damn.
Yeah, I thought even obviously Christian Walton, I thought Edmondson, he was probably the best of the rest of a bad bunch. Yeah. He'd be my captain. Captain, George Edmondson.
The only player that can hold themselves in any credit last night was obviously Walton. I think without him, if we had Halagi in goal, I mean, that would have been 5-0.
Yeah.
Job done. You know, he's pulling off save after save, and it was genuine quality saves as well. You know, when he started the game quite poorly, actually, I thought Walton, because his kicking is terrible for me, but he grew into the game and has actually saved us on quite a number of occasions last night. So it could have been very embarrassing. It could have been another Bolton, basically. But yeah, shocking from everyone else. No one else got above a 5 for me. All fucking absolutely awful.
On Morsey, as Tux was talking about him, Crunch, you came on the full-time show last night, the Fans React show, and you weren't particularly impressed with our captain, Sam Morsey. Now you've processed it a little bit. Are you still with the same opinion? Where are you on Sam Morsey?
Really disappointing. Really disappointing, Martin. I thought I didn't see him make a tackle last night. The only time he makes a tackle, it's a foul. You know, I still, like Tuck said, he should be in the front of that back four, get that ball and get us moving. But positionally, he's all over the shop. Him and Lee Evans last night, fucking hell. They might as well not bother putting on the white kit. You know, they're both.
Is that why Morsey's struggling though? Because Evans for me is offering absolutely nothing.
Yeah, honestly, he's one of the worst players I think I've ever seen in Ipswich. I'm not even exaggerating. Like, I think
I've got
honestly,
more pace.
He's awful. Yeah, I said to my mate Carl last night, he was standing next to me, and I said I could spray passes like Lee Evans, because that's essentially all he does. Right, spray a ball, you know, kind of sideways, maybe over the top here and there, but that's all he does. Like, I don't know what else he offers. And yes, he scored that hat-trick against Doncaster, but Christ, like, that's been shit if he's going to score a hat-trick against them.
Well, it was a purple game for him, a purple patch game for him. Everything he hit went in, and he's never had that sort of game in his career before. But is that why Morsey's struggling? Because you've basically got a midfield crunch of an asthmatic snow. No disrespect to either of them. Neither of them have got a third gear, and neither of them have got a bit of pace about them.
But let's look at his leadership skills as well. You know, where are the leadership skills? Away at Charlton last night, we're not playing very well. I don't see him cajoling the players. I don't see him giving anyone a bollocking, you know, getting in some players' faces, getting them going, you know. I don't see that. It's really disappointing. I'm not saying he's not going to, he could improve. He has to improve, in my opinion. But who knows when a new manager comes in, Martin, you know, because there shouldn't be people in this team who are entitled to, just because you're captain, you still have to perform every week, and he's not. And then at half time, Matt Holland was on the pitch, you know, walked around the town, fans got a great ovation. You think, there's a proper captain, you know, and we've got you in the midfield.
The mogul weren't happy though, was he?
Oh, because he was on Charlton TV? Yeah,
the mogul weren't happy about him being on Charlton TV.
But he played for Charlton. He had a decent career down there as well, didn't he, Matt? But
he did.
Yeah, Morsey, Evans, all of them. They were all shit. You know, we were lucky to get away with a 2-0 defeat, if we're being brutally honest.
Yeah.
It could have been 4 or 5 quite easy, couldn't it, Touch? You know, if the goalie, even the first goal, Martin, you know, the keeper's done a great save. If you look at it when he saved it, the still, Stockley's about 5 yards from the ball. There's players of ours closer to the ball than him.
Yes.
Where's the desire to keep that ball out your goal? Throw yourself in front of the ball. Wasn't there. Wasn't there.
No.
This should worry us. This should really worry us, because this is a brand new set of players who we've been told they're the best players in Division 1. We've had them handpicked, and they're performing like that. And is it a hangover from Cook's sacking? Maybe, but you have to be better than that. The manager's gone. You're paid.
The thing is, they were playing like that when Cook was in charge.
True.
So it's no like excuse there. Really, they've been playing like this for at least good 3-4 weeks now. Ever since that probably the Sunderland game for me, when I went up there and saw that, and I thought that was dreadful. It wasn't as obviously as bad as last night, but this we make excuses for these players all of the time, and
Yes,
unfortunately, they're not stepping up to the plate at a big club. That's the be all and end all of it. That they're not stepping up to the plate.
See, that's interesting when you say we make excuses for them, right? And then I think if you go on, that's where the frustration at full time spills over.
Yeah,
I think it did.
Yeah.
Well, that could be down as 20 years of frustration.
Yeah,
reaching bubbling point. Really, we've got Monty Charlton fans. Yeah, I was trying to say this last night at the full-time show. Tux, can we take a bit of comfort from Charlton in the sense of, as Monty says here, Charlton fans said they were the same as us 2 months ago. New coach fired us up. Could a new manager come in and galvanise this group that's got, on paper, quality about it?
Well, I mean, it depends what manager it is. For me, I think if you're looking at short term from now until the end of the season, I think there's only one man for the job, and that is Neil Warnock. Because I don't see anyone else coming in for literally this season. We're talking about this season. Fuck everything else, but this season, I can't see John Terry or Frank Lampard doing anything with this squad, even in a transfer window. What needs to happen is that a manager needs to come in and give these players a kick up the arse and say to them, look, stop moping around, stop, making excuses for yourself, and go out there and show them supporters what you're actually made of, because that's what it should be.
£5 from Neil Perks. Need to find the passion and pride required to play for Ipswich Town FC. Edmondson captain all day long. Head and shoulders above most weeks.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Neil. Appreciate that. But he was, I've seen on some sites, Tux, rated one of the worst centre halves out of last night. Edmondson. Would you go along with that?
Well, I don't think anyone covered themselves in glory last night, apart from Walton, as I said. But, Edmondson for me was by far and away better than bloody Toto last night. But at least he stands up and be sort of basically counted for. And, he's a quality signing. And I think if we don't go up this season, a championship club will probably have him because he's that good. But we'll see.
Tim Molden, what worried me about the Ashton announcement is how he said he's spoken to a group of senior players and then a wider group of seniors than the whole team. Did he speak to Cook followers first? Well, I'd imagine the senior players are Morsey, Evans. Who else? Edmondson, potentially, yes. I mean, because they're so new, who do you class as a senior? Luke working Wolfenden?
I mean, you've probably got to include potentially like Macaulay Bonne in there, I suppose, just because his passion for the club and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I'd imagine it would be that kind of four there. But yeah, I mean, I think you've got to involve the whole team if you're not just going to talk to the captain, because otherwise that looks like you're cherry picking your kind of your favourites, really.
I do feel for Sam Morsey, I really do. I'll be honest, because he's been parachuted into a football club from the league above, told by the manager before he arrived that it won't happen when Morsey's here. So we're already making it a big task.
Yeah,
and we know as fans, League One's a tough league to adjust to. Every team comes down and struggles. I don't think there's any.
You can't keep making excuses, Martin, for players. This is an international footballer. He's played for Egypt. For fuck's sake, he's supposed to be a good championship player.
True.
You can't keep sitting here and saying, "Oh yeah, poor Sam Morsey." No.
At the end of the day, he wouldn't have come here if he didn't know. Do you know what I mean? He knows the situation of what Ipswich Town Football Club currently is at the moment. With the new owners, he comes into it, 5 or 6 games after the season started on a 3-match ban. So he's got, even more time to think about that. So really, it's his choice. And yes, he's probably getting a bit more of a pay and everything else. But, the decision lies with him at the end of the day.
I'll agree with what Mike Brown said on this platform, Martin, a while ago. As supporters, we've got to raise our standards as well, because some people last night were happy to sit there or stand there at the end and applaud it.
Yeah,
we applauded them off when they got fucking relegated.
Don't worry.
They did.
Yeah.
What did we sing? Bob Marley.
We did.
Three Little Birds.
Yeah.
Well, it hasn't been all right since then, has it? And I don't see it getting a lot better at the minute. So
somebody said earlier in the chat, is it in our DNA now as a football club? Is it in our
You have to
DNA now?
You have to shake that off.
It shouldn't be though, should it? I mean, we've had new owners, new manager, new set of players. This is a completely new slate. So I'd say that yes, if it was Marcus Evans still at the helm, but he isn't, is he? So
No.
it is. You know, some of it will be that, like, you know, I don't agree with Cook really going at this point in time. I think if he has
Didn't think you
another
would.
few losses, then that could have been a bit different. But you know, I thought it was a bit of an odd time to sort of get rid of him.
The thing is, though, Tux, you say that, but if you look at last night's performance, it wasn't great. But then Crew wasn't great either. And if you took the performance from Crew into a game with Charlton and Will Wigan, you're going to get what you got last night, frankly.
Yes, yeah.
Absolutely pissed on, and we did.
Yeah, without a doubt. And you know, I, to be honest with you, I don't think if Cook was in charge last night, we would have played any better, really. But the group of players at the moment, as Crunch is rightly saying, we are making too much excuses for them, and that's why I think Neil Warnock has to come in and, you know, get him by the scruff of the neck and be like, look, what are you doing? You know, you're playing for such a big club. You're here on merit, basically, from, you know, previous seasons, on stats, etc., etc. So you need to show that form, and he should hopefully bring some confidence with him. And I think it should be really only a short-term thing. But if the owners and Mark Ashton are serious about getting something out of this season, we're 9 points off the playoffs or whatever it is.
Yeah, Plymouth.
So if they're serious about it, throw money at Warnock. And that's what you got to do. I can't see anyone else doing anything with this current squad for this season.
Not a name though, Tux, that's really been floated yet. Really, I've not really seen a concrete or even a rumoured link yet that says Warnock and Town are talking. Which,
well, I wonder whether some of it is that I think he lives in Cornwall. I think so. Whether he's actually interested in, you know, coming to Ipswich, you know. I don't know, but you know, if you give him enough money, of course he will. And you know, it's only till the end of the season, so I'm sure his wife will put up with that. So
I heard Mike Brown's available.
Well,
anyone, you know,
yeah.
If he said he would go and play for Brody and give him a kick up the backside, didn't he, Crunch?
He did actually.
He did. I want to go back to a point that Rob made and ask you the question, really, Crunch, because he said he felt lower. Oh, sorry, not Rob. Carl Brooks. Last night, I genuinely felt lower than when we got relegated. Is this the fear now, if you're one of the owners or Mark Ashton, that it's been built for this excitement? You know, I was running around the summer saying we're going to win the league. We're getting all these great players in. The excitement, Morecambe at home, first game, everyone's literally blowing their top. And then you get this, where it's back to same old. And there's only so many times you can be promised the world and then delivered nothing before you go, just, I'm done. Is that the fear now, Crunch? Like people like Carl feeling lower than when we got relegated?
Yeah, well, I do get that because, like I said before, we've been promised a lot. You know, some of the statements that were put, aren't they, running towards adversity, God have mercy on League One, probably didn't help Cook, if I'm being honest. You know, put more pressure on him. But I didn't ever think we'd be here, December the 8th, sitting here on a Wednesday night, and we're 9 points, but then if you look at the teams who've got 2 games in our mind, it could easily be 12. But I just feel it's a little bit, I'm not saying it wasn't the right decision to move Cook on. I just think normally a team will sack a manager and they'll have a plan of who they want.
Yeah.
And it's pretty clear that we don't. And Saturday comes, Wigan away, you know, another real tough game. I can't see us getting anything there. I'm being honest, Martin. I cannot see us getting anything.
I do.
Where does that spring from? Where does that come from? Where did that confidence come from?
Ipswich Town way of haplessly falling into something.
We can't just haplessly fall into something.
I mean, Mike, would you play that side last night? I mean, because that's one of our strongest lineups there.
Well, I've not a big, huge fan of the 4-2-3-1, despite playing on a Football Manager 2022. I generally go to a 3-5-2 like Charlton. Charlton last night showed why the 3-5-2 works really well. You overload the flanks. You've still got strength in the middle. And I think this squad is built for that. But I can see why McGrew stuck with it, having only been there an hour and a half. Yeah. It's ridiculous in length of time. His first tactical puzzle, I suppose, Tux, was Janoy Danassian at left back. What did you make of that one?
Well, to be honest, Carl, who I went with last night, said that you know, John McGrew at Cole U played KVY at left back during his time there.
Yeah.
And we all saw the lineup and we thought that KVY was going to play left back. pretty decent, not too bad really in terms of selection. But then when they started, they lined up for the kickoff, and obviously Donessian was at left back. I didn't understand it. I know Donessian's played left back for Accrington, I think, but I could sort of see why he was doing it, maybe because it's a bit more attacking down the right and it's more natural attacking. But I mean, Donessian has obviously been one of our probably standout players since the start of the season at right back. So I felt a bit sorry for him last night because he didn't look comfortable at all.
He looked all at sea.
Back. Yeah,
Tux. He never once looked like he settled into that game.
No,
he was forever getting, as Mick Mills said, his angles wrong. He was taking the approaches wrong. He even flew into a player at one point, which is not particularly like Janoy Donessian.
Yeah.
Really.
But what does that say about someone like Matt Penny who sat on the bench? Okay, he's not been great recently, right? But we go back to this like square pegs round hole stuff where you've got a left back sitting on the bench, just play him.
Doesn't that?
Why is Donessian got to come in?
But is that a decision made by somebody else, or is that a piece of advice from somebody else other than John McGreal? So somebody who's been there a while that says, "You've had this issue at left back. I would move Donessian to there and play," because it's a big call, is it not, Crunch? To suddenly come in within an hour, watch them train, and go, right, you're my left back, despite playing 7 out of 10 at right back for the last.
I know he has played quite a lot. I said to Mike last night, he has played a lot of games there for Fleetwood.
But it's a big call, isn't it, to say you're better than Matt Penny without really seeing them.
Look, you've got people at the club. Kieran Dyer's been there. He was on the bench last night. It was a bit of a struggle. Looking at it now, it was the wrong move, wasn't it? He was all at sea, but then came Vincent Young. I don't know what you thought, Mark. I thought he was woeful. He's gone off a cliff. He's gone off a cliff, Martin. We've had him. He's been in and out of the team. He's played the odd game, decent here and there, but nowhere near at the level.
There was flashes last night where he was trying to attack down our right, but about 3 or 4 times he just ran the ball out of play, and it was just basic stuff, like just release the ball when you get into a position like that, which he was doing obviously when he was on form, but for whatever reason he was just running the ball out of play. But in fairness to Charlton, I thought they did defend quite well. They sort of nullified any kind of threat that we were going to have. But we didn't pose that threat in the end. Whether that was because Charlton defended quite well or the fact we just weren't up for it, I don't know. But it was probably a combination of the two. But yeah, as I say, no one really came out of that with a rating above a 5 other than Walton for me.
I am trying to get through as many comments as I can in the chat. There is a live link as well for you to get involved. Super chats are read out primarily because they're different colours, and I can see they jump out at me when the screen goes.
Did you think last night, Mark, that showed what 2 up front can do? The big man, little man combination. Yeah. Washington run his socks off for Charlton last night.
Yeah,
him and Stockley worked really well together, and I think we've got the big men. I'd play Chaplin in the 2, Martin, if it was up to me up front with either Bon or Piggott.
Yeah. Well, I think you've got to look at it in the 2 that we did eventually bring on in the second half. We had Bon up front and Piggott. Like those 2 up front do not work together. I'm sorry, I don't care what anyone says. They do not work together at all.
100%. His body language was poor last night, Bon, I thought, especially second half.
Honestly, probably the worst game I've seen him play in an Ipswich shirt. All he did was whinge. Literally all night, all he did was whinge. It must be really
hard, though, mustn't it, having the weight of the team on your shoulders? Because our team is built on Macaulay Bon. It's shown it, really.
Yes.
If he scores, we win.
Last few weeks, he hasn't been getting the service. And I think a lot of people have been on his back in terms of that he's not scored or whatever else, but he has worked hard in the previous games. Last night, maybe a bit of a one-off that he was just really poor. But as I say, all he did last night was really just whinge at the lino. And that really was about it from him. I didn't see anything else that he offered. But in terms of the 2 up front, Piggott and Bon don't work together at all. I think, like Crunch is saying, you either have Bon or Piggott up front, but with a little man next to him, basically.
James Reed, £5 super sticker. Thank you very much, my friend. We appreciate that. Ben Moore, JD
I agree with Cole there.
Okay, yeah, we cannot play 4-4-2
centre midfielders. That's true. You can't play Morsey and Evans in a 4-4-2 in the middle.
Yeah,
fucking no chance.
Yeah.
Well, but you've got Player of the Year, Akeem Harper.
He wasn't even on the bench.
I know. What the fuck, man? Look, you can't be slating my opinion on him if he's never going to get a run of games to prove whether he should or whether he shouldn't be.
But Evans is, though, and he's awful. But I'd have Harper. I'd have probably fucking El Mazzuni ahead of him.
Talking to young players, a player that you didn't rate, Bailey Clements, was he injured? Was he
No,
sick?
John McGrill's worked it out. It's shit.
That's a big call though, within an hour of training.
But
It's a big call, isn't
No,
it?
do you know what? Kieran Dyer's probably said Paul Cook was playing him. I don't know why you're playing him. Get rid of him. Honestly, he's poor. I don't care what anyone says. Bailey
I'm
Clements
not saying
is
he's
not
great or
poor.
poor. I'm not saying if he was. I'm not saying we would have won the game with him playing. But I'm just saying within an hour of a training session, that's big cojones. That is to say, right, you're going left back. Bailey Clements, who's played the last 3 weeks, you're going to go out of the 18 altogether. Was he on the bench?
Yeah, Matt Penny was on the bench.
I mean, that's like that gif with the bowling ball, isn't it? That's like I'm in charge now. Boom.
Yeah.
That's big boy stuff. Fucking hell. Shocked me. It really did, because I when you saw Kobe White on the pitch, I thought he'd play left back. Scott Fraser in the 10, best number 10 in League One when he arrived. It's taken him 4 months to be turned from the best number 10 in League One to the worst number 10 in League One. Crunch, you've been calling for it for months. I'm a
massive Scott Fraser fan, but
what did you think of it?
Last night he would get above a 3.
No,
he was wonderful.
I agree.
He was absolutely shit. He's the pace he ran off the pitch, Mark, when he got subbed is about the pace that he fucking moved during the game.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, man. It was terrible.
The game didn't suit him at all last night. For me, Chaplin should have been in that 10 role. And if anything, I probably would have started Fraser in alongside Morsey, to be honest, and just had Lee Evans completely out of the squad.
Well, I'm with you on that one. I am. But Scott Fraser, number 10. I was expecting big things. I thought this would be great. Tux, finally we're going to see Scott Fraser with the touches and the movement, and him and Bonner going to literally light the fucking game up. We were winning 3-0 by half time. Open up a can of whoop ass.
Yeah, I don't know whether that was some of the confidence that obviously he's just been played out of position quite a lot recently, and then obviously getting his turn, he should really be taking his chance there, but for whatever reason he couldn't. But I think it was more about the pace of the game, and for me, I just thought that he was just, like Crunchy's saying, he didn't get above a 3 for me at all. It was awful.
He was absolutely, woeful. Carl Edwards on the left.
Tuck showed more pace.
Tuck showed more pace than Fraser. The district line, brilliant. We've got Josh Bailey. I actually can't wait to see my team Sunderland beat us again in a couple of weeks. Herfy99 says, God help us if Lennon gets appointed. We've got shit creep without a paddle. Matt says Bailey Clements would have put in more passion than most of those players last night. And Matt's going to Barrow next week. Matt, do you never learn? Never learn?
See you there.
Crazy. Paul Copeland, worst bit has been Bond called for fans to sing up after we sang our hearts out and nothing happened on the pitch. Blue Boy, Warnock, really? For fuck's sake, he won't make any difference because his players will sulk because they're weak. Colin says, no more excuses. Colin, keep the faith. All right, keep the faith. Roy Clark, the lad who plays right back for Stockport is a fantastic second fullback. Should definitely get him in January. Current scores on the doors, 1-1 at Wigan and Shrewsbury. Do you know Wigan are not won on a Tuesday night all season yet? At home. That's a little
fun fact.
Wednesday. It's a Wednesday though tonight.
Fuck, it is a Wednesday. You're right. Fuck, you're right. You're right. You are, boy. I'm glad. See, I'll make sure you both the weight. That was all. Tux wasn't.
No, I wasn't. I wasn't.
No, neither was I. I thought I had a really good fact.
I got in at 2 o'clock this morning from bloody Charlton, so I'm certainly not awake.
No. Anything else in the game you want to cover, either? Anything else you want burning desire to call out, whatever you called them on Twitter, Crunch? What's going on? Come on. Anything else?
Wasters, the fucking lot. I'll tell you another one he weren't a waster when he come on. He done more than Edwards in 10 minutes, Cameron Humphreys. At least he run round. At least he pressed. At least he showed a bit of fucking. At least he had a bit of go in him.
Is that the bare minimum run round?
It's interesting what you say about Humphreys.
Come on, run around and show
it is.
Effort.
It's interesting what you say about Humphreys as well, because when he came on against Barrow in the Cup, literally the first 2 things he did, get the ball, put it in the box. And that's really what you should be doing as a footballer, as a winger. You should be putting the ball in the box at any sort of opportunity that you can get, not try and take on everyone and then try and do it. Because that's what Edwards was trying to do last night, and it just didn't work. And I like Edwards as a player in there, but for me, like, the end product is just abysmal.
Do you not think
Absolutely abysmal.
Edwards is basically, he sums up the modern day football fan? He played 20 minutes against some no hope team, looked world class. Everyone literally took to their social media device to crown him the second coming. And since then,
What's the lad we had last season on loan from Germany?
Keenan Bennett.
Yeah, he's a bit like
He's
that.
no better than him. No better.
Well, they decided on last night's show he was better than Keenan Bennett just for the pure fact he goes with the ball, whereas Keenan Bennett would go past the man and leave the ball on the fucking turf.
True.
But you're right, both offer very little. But yeah, just when he had, after that debut crunch, we thought we had a head of a player on our hands.
He does a lot of his best work going back the other way defensively.
I've seen him make more tackles than crosses.
You know,
seriously.
He's young. Yeah, he's
£20. Rod, humble, no questions. The nation, you do great work, Gov. Rod, I'm very humbled. Thank you very much. I truly appreciate it. $20. Cha-ching, cha-ching. Thank you. Means a lot. Sorry, Crunch.
What are you getting the missus with that?
Don't know. It is Christmas, isn't it? You know.
Well, is it in your house?
Yeah. Well, no, not yet. Not yet. It's still only the 8th of December, Crunch. But settle down. Settle down. Where's your tree? Downstairs, I imagine. Thank you, Rod. It means a lot. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Go on in, Crunch. Carl Edwards, you were saying when he first burst onto the scene.
Yeah, look, he's got tricks. But
we've all got fucking tricks, mate. Like this.
I'd say he's lost a bit of confidence. He's in and out of the team, isn't he? He had an injury. They've all got to be on their game now, because whoever's going to come in is going to probably be watching these. They're going to get the DVDs of these games, aren't they?
Who's producing them? Paul Jewell.
Yeah, there you go. But he's
still watching the DVD of the Derby game with Nathan Tyson sticking it in the back of the net at 2-1.
It's just so frustrating. You turn up there, it's Christmas time, 3,000 on a Tuesday. Times are hard at the minute, fuel prices, everything. It's costing a lot of money, and it's just, you go there, and I don't think, Martin, these players realise how lucky they are with the support they get everywhere they go. Most away ends, we've sold them out. And how long does that faith remain with the players? Because
it doesn't anymore. It's gone. It's gone. You've got to say it's gone.
Am I saying it's gone?
No, you've got to say it's gone. There was near enough fans was on the pitch last night.
Yeah.
That to me says it's gone, Grunt. Like, when you're coming over to clap your fan after an away performance and there's that type of scene.
Well, we can go into that if you want, about clapping.
Yeah.
After a performance like that. The thing they should have done is, if you want to give the away support your applause, do it at a safe distance.
Do it at a safe. But that very sentence to me says it ain't. You're not. That's gone. Like, do it from a safe distance behind a fucking riot shield. Like, come on.
Yeah, but what did they expect? What did they expect coming over? I've got no idea what they expected. What were you going to say? Well done, lads. See you Saturday at Wigan.
If they do, and they're damned if they don't. If they don't come over, you're going to say, fucking travel all that way, petrol prices, all this different stuff you've just said. Very valid points. And then you're going to say, they didn't bother come over after that performance to say thank you. They trunked down the tunnel. They come over and they get a mouthful of abuse. Like, last night, guys, and you can tell me how wrong I am because you were both there, and that's fine. And I know I'm going to be wrong, but I'm going to say it anyway. It screamed of a team that was 10 points adrift at the bottom of the table without a hope in the world, hadn't won a game all season. But we're only 7 last night, 9, 10, 12, mid-table. We're still a good portion of the season to go. I didn't expect those scenes last night.
But where are those wins coming from, though? This is what this is a squad that is here for the rest of the season, albeit a couple of changes here and there with the new manager with a January window. But this is a squad that is here until the end of the window, end of the season. So it gives me no confidence after last night's performance and recent performances, I might add, that we're going anywhere at the moment, because it's just dire. Like the football and the desire for me is just crap. Like, as I said before, if you've got an opposition player that can walk past 4 of your players, what does that say? It's absolutely dreadful.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it is. I'm not disagreeing with that, but it's. I mean, this time last week we were all talking about should Paul Cook be sacked. Half the chat would have told me no. Half the chat would have told me yes. One of the contributors would have said yes. One of them would have said no. One of them would have said negative. I mean, we had a guy last week stop supporting the platform because Matt was being too negative and saying Paul Cook wouldn't be here to pack out PR. Well, he was right, but that was last. Now suddenly, fast forward 7 days, it looks like we've gone past the free fall stage. We're just already this is how we should have been under Lambert in the Championship. It's sort of. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Well, it's. I think Crunch hit the nail on the head earlier. If you're going to sack your manager, you need to have a replacement coming out. I'm not talking about John McGreal as an interim. I'm talking about a proper replacement. Now, one of the reasons I think Cook got the bullet anyway is because of his comments before the Barrow game. And then Mark Ashton's all about his optimism and positivity at the moment, right? He doesn't want anything to spoil that. And I think Cook has kind of dug himself a little bit of a hole there, as well as kind of recent performances. And Ashton doesn't want, the mood to sour even more. So he thought sacking the manager and, have that new manager bounce, basically. But you have to have that manager to come in and do that. John McGreal is not the man to do that. Yes, he can caretaker or run a few training sessions, but you need to have that replacement. That's like at any standard of football, even like non-league or Sunday league. Like
by when for you, Crunch? Cookie sacked on Saturday. We're now on Wednesday.
Back up from was it?
Yeah,
Tim?
hang on. Tim. Yeah, maybe we're expecting too much from them to have a connection with the fans when they're just joining the club. We want them to show the same passion we have, but it's not going to happen.
Why does passion not happen? It doesn't matter that you've just joined the club. That should be fucking in them. It should be ingrained in them. Passion, fight, having a go.
What is it, Crunch? Passion.
It should be.
Passion. I love how you say it.
We pay a lot of money. Tux gets home at 2 a.m. Colin's son, he took half a day off yesterday. He's had to work till 7:38 tonight to make up that time. This is what I'm saying. These players don't know that they're born, Martin. They get a free ride from us. We're too nice as a fan base.
I blame Drinham. I really do.
Or 2 last night.
Fuck off. I blame Dazelle then. Got to blame somebody, all right? It's Luke Chambers' fault. Tux.
Getting back to come over to the fans. Just you've stunk the place out. What are you gaining? Let's go on what happened with Toto then. So he's walking towards the fans. Walking towards the fans, and it's a baying mob.
You don't need to be that close. He doesn't need to be that close.
No, he doesn't.
Is he not showing a character and a backbone and bottle by
when did he show it? In 95 minutes, Martin.
Oh, he was one of the better performers last
night. Fuck off.
He wasn't.
No, he wasn't.
Don't pull the wool over anybody's eyes.
No, he wasn't.
He
was shocking.
I do not look at that game and say Toto and Sia is the reason we lost.
Fucking hell.
And if
really?
I don't.
It's not the sole reason, no, but he was probably one of the worst. I'd probably say I put him. Lee Evans and Toto Nsiala were probably the worst players on the pitch last night by an absolute country mile.
We wanted to get out of this league. We wanted to get out of this league, Tux. You need better players than him in your team.
Yeah. I said, Toto Nsiala as a centre back choice. I think I had him at start of the season 5th choice, not even a choice. He should have been out with the bomb squad.
Well, I'm not going to disagree on that one. No, no one was good last night. I'm not saying he was, 6 out of 10.
But he's gaining nothing by coming over to the fans and pointing at his badge and giving it that.
Yeah,
Toto's a really good guy. Don't get me wrong. Off the field,
he's a really good guy. Really good.
But on the field, you're gaining nothing there. People are angry. People are really angry. The second half, you could feel it in the crowd. It was getting angrier, and a lot of people left after the second goal. And there's a lot of people there at the end, Martin, that they were baying for blood. They're not happy. They paid a lot of money.
George Nunn. They don't have to be passionate about the club. They can be passionate about their careers or each other or whatever. But there is no excuse for not being able to find something to play for.
100%.
James 100%. Reed, will our new man send back the loan? Will the new man send back the loan players that are not involved, like Barry? Possibly. Wide Man says, "What are you on about, Martin?" Toto is utter dog shit.
Yeah.
100%.
Respect
Well
that
done.
opinion. Respect that opinion. Ashley, you got a question? What are Wolverhampton and Burgess doing in training that Toto gets into the team every single week? Best defender in League One, Paul Cook told Toto.
Yeah, but he's just blowing smoke up his arse, isn't he? I mean, just to give that kind of confidence for him. He doesn't mean
Yeah.
that. You ask him now, he'd be like, no, awful.
It's Toto who?
Yeah.
He did
No one
apologize.
No one wants to see what happened. Look, it doesn't put anyone in good light. The fans and the player, you know.
Yeah.
But he did apologise, Toto.
It wasn't as though when everyone was singing "You're not fit to wear the shirt," they weren't just chanting it at Toto.
Yeah.
They were chanting it at the whole fucking team.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't just him.
He did say, Toto said, I issued the following message last night's defeat to Charlton. He said, following last night's game, I'd like to applaud and thank supporters for travelling in their thousands and paying their hard-earned cash, especially at this time of year. All of the lads, and I fully appreciate the time and effort of the fans who support us up and down the country. Frustrations were high, and I completely understand why, as that performance was not good enough. My intention was to acknowledge the supporters and tell them that we are doing all we can to put things right, but unfortunately, this did not come across how I intended. I apologise for misunderstanding. I know the fans deserve more, and I'll be giving everything to deliver the performances and results that we can all be
Where's
proud
the misunderstanding in that?
Well, that's the apology. You know,
let's see how they react on Saturday then at Wigan.
Yeah, but has he not just been forced to make an apology there? It just seems quite forced.
I don't think he had to.
Yeah, but I think he probably does though, because you've probably either got Ashton or McGreal sitting there saying, "Look,
oh, definitely,
put a letter out."
Yeah, but what did he really do anything to warrant? I mean, it was just people showing emotion.
But you're asking for trouble, weren't you? If you did any of the other players walk over? No, apart from Walton, who tried to get him away. He knew. Just
and then
don't go over
what
there.
Happened there? Because I think that's probably going to scupper our chances of signing him permanently.
I don't know where the fan come, but he's come on the pitch, which you just cannot do. He'll be banned. He'll be fined. And look, you can't do that, Martin. We all know. We all accept that. You go on the field of play, you're out. You're out of here. Don't ever do that.
Yeah.
Is that going to hurt our chances for signing him if we want to sign him? Do you think?
No. I think, footballers, you kind of, not to expect it, but, those things can happen in football. And obviously emotion was running high. I don't know why the guy went on the pitch. He shouldn't obviously been on there. Unforgivable, get banned, whatever. But, as a goalkeeper, him and himself, he didn't get hit in the face or anything like that. So I think it's one of these sort of things where, it is what it is, isn't it?
He was our best player. I'd understand it if it was somebody else.
I have no idea why he went for him. I have no idea why he went for him. If anything, he should have gone up to him and shook his hand, really. But
completely baffled me, that did, Crunch, when I saw it was after he came after Walton. I thought it was he came after, say, Toto.
He probably had a few beers, that guy.
Yeah.
He's probably been out.
That's not an excuse, though, is it?
That's probably another reason why the fans were so, at the end as well, Martin, because a lot of them have probably been in London for the day on the lash. Yeah. That probably don't help. You know what it's like when you've had a few beers.
How many did you have, Tux?
I didn't. I was driving last night.
Oh,
from the station.
Good boy. Tim Walden, he came out to defend himself rather than apologise or appease, and the emotion just got the better of him. There's a lot of anger directed at him. Matt Stannard, so you play your best game. Everyone gives you a 9. That's what happens. Got no relationship with him, which is why would he now sign for us? Well, it depends where Cook ends up, to be fair, because obviously he's a Cookie player, and Cookie might want him when he's out of contract in the summer. Ben Moore, if this is what I said last night, if our midfielders are leaving their man like Morsey and Evans have done to them, then Toto and Emerson have to deal with the strikers. And yesterday, Tux, it just felt like it was wave after wave of Charlton players. And at times, it felt like Charlton had 15, 16, 17 players on the pitch.
Yeah, I mean, as I said earlier, I think, Morsey for me wasn't really dictating any of the play like we sort of saw in his earlier games. His role is really to get the ball from the defenders to then pass it through to the forwards. So
Tux, look at that comment. Fans being punished already. He's been given hospitality for the Barrow game.
Yeah.
Kally. Nice to see you, Kally. He wasn't asked to do an apology. He approached the PR team wanting to out something. Fan begs him to come over, acting nice, so he does, and then gets abuse. Okay.
I don't think anyone was begging him to come over last night, Kally.
Well,
it doesn't mean you have to go over, though, does it? Even if someone's going, please come over.
No.
You've got to read the situation, surely.
Yeah. Think, stranger.
We've just lost 2-0. We played utter dog shit.
Yeah.
And what do you expect to happen?
All right. So we've got some names coming out every day, but today's names are Frank Lampard, John Terry, and Neil Lennon. So what do we think about these three then? Crunch. Neil Lennon did wonders at Celtic, didn't he?
Neil, you could fucking manage Celtic and Tux, couldn't we? Come on. He's a horrible little man, isn't he? But maybe he's what we need, Martin.
He's asked Lambert for advice, apparently.
Fucking hell.
Nay normal.
What's he going to come out? I played at Leicester. I played in Scotland.
Do you reckon the conversation goes, hello, Paul, it's Neil. I've played for big clubs. Oh, Neil, so have I. I've played for big clubs. What sort of big clubs? Well, big clubs in Germany, big clubs.
It's like what Kingy says there in the chat. He won 10 trophies in Scotland. He's a good manager. I personally, I don't like the bloke, but I don't care if I like him if he does a good job for our football club. I couldn't give a toss. If someone come in, they got two heads and done a good job, it would not bother me.
I remember seeing a clip of Neil Lennon. Was it on the touchline with Ali McCoist where he sort of winds the Rangers bench up and then it all kicks off and he's I have to try and dig it out. But you're right. He's right though in a way, isn't he, Tux? That if Neil Lennon can bring that nasty streak, and these players, as you've said earlier, do need that type of rocket up their backsides.
Yeah, well, I think, as I say, there's only one man for me, but I think Neil Lennon, it's a big club that he's obviously managed. He played for him as well. He knows the kind of pressure with that. But for me, when he's managed in England, he's been a bit disappointing. I don't think he did that particularly that well at Bolton. I don't know if he was anywhere else. Can't remember now. But Bolton, he was certainly quite poor. Again, another big club. Didn't failed to deceive there. So, and then you've got the other ones like Lampard and Terry. I think for me, if I had to pick out of Terry and Lampard, I'd go Terry.
Why?
Just because he's a pure winner. Like everything that he's achieved in his career. He controlled dressing rooms at Chelsea. And his career speaks for himself really, but I think the only thing that really holds him back of having any kind of managerial career is the whole kind of racism scandal with Anton Ferdinand. That's essentially still ongoing as well. So I don't know whether kind of Ashton will be too inclined to really entertain that. But for me, Lampard, I'm not fully convinced by him. I think if he comes here, I don't see what he can do with this current squad. Maybe in the future, potentially, yes, because he's a manager who wants to spend money. He just wants to spend money wherever he is. That's all he's attracted to. He got interviewed by Marcus Evans, and he pulled out of the race.
He's Harry's nephew, isn't he?
Well, he pulled out of the race, didn't he? When he was here before, based on what I can only assume is that we didn't have the money to spend there. And then he obviously went to Derby and spent a shitload there as well. So for me, I wouldn't really want him here based on the fact that he just wants to spend money. So,
do you feel though with Lampard and Terry Crunch that maybe in the same way we're talking about Lennon or Warnock, more to the point, the Rocket, that's the type of player that inspires other players, and when you're being told maybe Liams and Sam Morsey by a Frank Lampard, or whether you're Toto or George Edmondson or Burgess being told by a John Terry how shite you are. You can take it a little bit better because this is a guy that's got, you've got trophies on the wall, the best in his position, and can inspire and lead a team to be the better of themselves.
I don't think Tuck said about Lampard spending money. He spent no money. He had transfer embargo, didn't he, at Chelsea? So he couldn't sign him.
Yeah, but look what happened when he did have money to spend.
Signed some good players who are benefiting now.
Yeah, but they weren't there. Well, he got them there, but he wasn't manager. They were still poor when he left.
Do you think the same reasons that let him down at Chelsea, Tux, is the reasons why we don't want him here? Tactical ability was,
possibly. I think I do get the point that he did well with the kids at Chelsea. I'm not getting away from that, but it's just when he's got money to spend, what did he really sort of do with that money in his kind of tenure? I know they're performing for him now, performing for Chelsea now, but they weren't at the time under him. And they've had to have someone like Tuchel come in and obviously get him playing. So,
good point.
I think whatever way we go, whether it's a young manager, an experienced manager, we need a big name to come in because I think these players need someone to respect. And I feel like maybe at the moment they don't particularly respect John McGreal enough. I think they respect him as a coach, but not enough to be changing their mentality, their outlook on this. So
I totally agree with you there. Say someone like Liam Manning, Tux, for example, good young coach.
Yeah.
This lot would piss all over him.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
Okay, another name that's come in today, Chef Kikuchi.
Fucking hell. No.
Do you know what? I love Shefke. I love everything about him when he was here. But let's have it right. I mean, he's not the way forward, is he?
No. Simon Clark says, what's the going everyone interview with Frank Lampard? Quality bloke, has huge experience of the football world. Lewis said he signed the basis of Chelsea's Champions League winning squad. Killerbot says because Chelsea didn't give him time. I just think it's a bit of a stretch to go from in the shout to a Premier League job, albeit narrage, to then suddenly not just fall into, say, a West Brom or a middle of the table championship. So you're falling all through the championship right to League One mid-table. That seems a bit of a jump, even if you've been given 100 million in January to spend. Does it not? Like, that's a huge wrong direction career move.
Yeah, and I can't see him coming here, to be honest. I think he essentially had his chance to take it if he wanted it. He pulled out of it originally. I can't see why he'd want to come here now unless it's just really about money. If he gets a big wage for himself, but also gets that transfer kitty as well. I think that's really all he's bothered about, to be honest.
Hey, one man's bread is enough with one man's bread. Do you know what I mean? Like, I ain't bothered about how much he earns; it's how much he can do for the football club. But is this the biggest appointment that possibly Ashton could make? Possibly ever at his time in town, because one of the therapists here of going.
How many times have we heard this since McCarthy? I've heard this with every appointment we've made. This is the biggest appointment of the club's history. Blah blah blah.
Well, I suppose everyone is every time it is. I suppose because it can go like Hurst or it can go.
That's what I mean, though. Like, I've heard it every time. So, like, I've heard it with Lambert's one. I've certainly heard it with Paul Cook's one.
Yeah.
And what's happened there? So, it might be the biggest appointment, but really, we need to get this right. And
but is it more a big appointment for Ashton because the honeymoon period it appears is over?
Yes,
I think that's probably fair to say. Scenes of him walking around the pitch going, that's a distant memory now. This is and some people in the chat are saying apparently there's some reports that won't be here till January.
That's what I said. He sat Cook. Most teams they have. I know it's a bit underhanded, Mark. They'll have someone in. They've obviously been talking to him behind the scenes. That goes on in football. We know that.
Trying to find the comment.
We're waiting till January. I think it was Harry Butcher, Martin, in the chat. So we're going to be waiting for January. The season's gone.
Well, exactly. I mean, is it clear to say, Tux, that John McGrill was his plan B? John McGrill. The plan here is John McGrill takes charge for however long he has to take charge because he's a manager that's managed in League Two, done fairly well with Colchester, steady Eddie, safe pair of hands, gives us a chance to really broaden the search. But then does that go with the wording of the interview Monday, where he's the season's not over, and because that suggests you're going to get something really quickly, doesn't it? The season not over.
Well, he's got to say, hasn't he, that the season's not over, whether he thinks it or not, because he's got a pack-out PR campaign coming up with 3 games, 27,000 fans for each of those, maybe more. So he's got to say that. He can't ever say, season done at this point, because it isn't. But at the same time, he has to continue that optimism, positivity, etc., etc. And I think, as I said before, that's maybe one of the reasons why Cook went. Along with the performances because of his comments about the fans, and he can't really entertain that. So I think he was trying to do something quickly before getting to the Marcus Evans kind of like negativity, etc., etc. He doesn't want that, but putting his balls on the line for Ashton, put his balls on the line to essentially that was a big call for him to make about Cook, and not having a replacement lined up spells a little bit of kind of I don't know.
It surprises
me. It doesn't
me.
sit right with me. Yeah. If you had another manager, if you had I don't care who it is, if you had a bloody Neil Lennon or Frank Lampard, Mark Bircham, whoever, and you said, right, that's our manager now, fine. Agreed. But because it's John McGrill who's come in as interim, it doesn't say how many games he's going to come in for, because obviously they're going to take their time with the managerial appointment. I get that. However,
but this isn't June, is it? It's December.
Exactly.
The bullets are firing around us. You can't wait to elect the lieutenant.
Exactly. And with a pack-out PR campaign, oh Christ, imagine if we put that performance in from last night over those pack-out PR campaigns.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that said, Crunch, everything Ashton has shown me so far has been first class. Everything he's said so far to me has been first class. Everything I've experienced with the football club since the new ownership came in has been first class. I completely do trust this process. So, in the same respects to having a conversation there with Tux, I'm going to say to yourself, I'm not quite sure if I want to buy into that January model that we're seeing in the chat there, because that doesn't tell me what I think I already know about the process. That there was always a plan in place at Portman Road these days, and there is a process to be trusted.
There's little things now you're seeing, and you're thinking, there's no smoke without fire, and you see all the Bristol City fans, guys, don't rate him at all. And there's alarm bells go off in my head now. Man, he's the type of guy, he'd sell you a conservatory if you lived on a 5th floor flat. You know, talk's a great game. He has to deliver now.
Yeah,
he has to deliver. January. If we wait until January, Martin, fucking hell, we could be like 17th in the league. The season's gone.
I thought it was quite interesting when Ashton had the interview on Monday, and he basically said that he led it and he led the idea, and yes, the board were unanimous in that decision. But if you listen carefully, when he went to the board, so the board didn't come to him, he went to the board. He went there with the idea, and they agreed with him. So just in that comment that you had on screen a minute ago, where he's looking to prove to his bosses, I think that is some of it. Yeah.
Possibly. Must put his own authority on it.
Yeah.
What did I do about Ashton had to stick from Y Block?
Did he? I don't know. Didn't see it.
Did
Crunch a high five at Ashton? I can't see it. I'm sorry. Lewis Mitchell, I think Ashton wants us to think he's a meticulous planner. I feel he took charge of most of this summer's recruitment, most of which didn't fit Cook's system, hanging Cook out to try. Lewis says, get Allardyce in. He'll keep us up. Fuck me. Is that what it's come to? Keep us up in League One. Kingy. Even Evans didn't sack a manager out of replacement. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, even a blind squirrel finds a nut at least once. Tim Malden, pack out PR. Can't see us getting anything from Wigan. Then we have a live TV Cup replay unraveling, only for them to reveal Appleton as manager. I can see it now. Look, if it's Appleton, it's Appleton. If that's who they feel is the upgrade on Paul Cook, I will swallow whatever I feel about that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
fine. But you've got to act with some urgency, surely.
Yeah, without a doubt. If you are going to go for Appleton, who's obviously already in a job, then you've got to look at it and be like, look, let's just do it now. Because that decision for me should have already been made. It's the same with anyone who's out of work currently as well. Get on the phone, make that phone call. Why are we still pissing about?
Yeah, like the Shefty Kutchi one, Crunch. You laugh, and it is he's putting his job in his CV in since the job became available every single time. But this isn't June. This isn't the time for we'll sit by the post and wait for your CV to hit the mat. This should be a on the blower because we know who we want. That's what I think is happening, by the way. I trust that process, but that how you see it?
I'm not quite sure. There has to be a manager in charge for the Sunderland game, as far as I'm concerned. McGreal should get 2 games. You'd probably think next week, Barrow on the Wednesday. Your manager's probably going to be sitting. Well, as far as I'm concerned, your manager should be sitting in the stands there watching that game, and then he takes.
He was last night, was he? Mark Bircham.
Well, yeah, but is he just trying to sort of,
Del Boy it?
Possibly. He got sacked by Waterford. It's not exactly going to excite me.
I didn't know.
I just want someone to come in who's going to gain the respect of the players. It's got
to be a big name. It's got to be a big name. I agree. It has to be.
You got to go on. It's got to be a big upgrade on Cook because you've made that decision to get rid of him. If you replace him with someone like, I'm not saying Appleton wouldn't do a good job, but the fans are going to think, why have you got rid of Cook? You're just getting someone else in at that same sort of level. And then a lot of people, Martin, will say, well, hang on, Appleton, you were with him at Oxford. It's jobs for your mates. That's what will happen if things don't go right.
Yeah.
So,
but that's why it's big for Ashton, isn't it? Because,
massive.
It's huge for him already. Big for O'Leary as well, who's, Sheepshanks-esque appearance. I think it'd be nice to hear from O'Leary. I think a lot of fans would be steadied by O'Leary's comments because I think a lot of fans looked at him as Sheepshanks, a bit like shit. Don't you feel, Crunch? They looked at him and you felt instantly calm in the summer when he took over.
Definitely, but then he said it'll take time. It's a plan, and then we've ripped it up 4 months into it, basically. So Was
But it
an
had
injury?
to be ripped up.
I'm not saying
No.
it was wrong. I'm not saying it was wrong. But if you're going to rip it up, at least have a fucking idea who you want.
Yeah.
Adrak,
Otherwise, you might as well have kept Cook, to be honest with you. You might as well have kept him because I don't see how McGreal can really change anything in these next 2 or 3 games if he gets that amount of time. You have to bring in another manager. You have to have that replacement.
That said, Crunch, you've had the pleasure of speaking to new owners. We had them on the show. You know, do you really feel this is now an ownership, a group, a chief executive that doesn't have a plan and a process that you can't trust? Because I don't, having spoke to these people.
You would hope that they have a plan, but I agree with you there, Tux. If it meant it took you a couple of weeks to get a manager in who you were targeting, keep Cook in the job because what's McGreal going to do?
Yeah.
What's he going to do in a couple of 3 games that Cook couldn't do?
Well, that's a good point. What last night would you have expected out of a Cook team?
Nothing different. Nothing different.
So you can take that one off because then it doesn't really matter who's in charge. Wigan with Cook. Did you see that as a potential win? Did you see that? How if Cook was in charge right now? Forget last night. Cook's still in charge. We got beat 1-0. What would you be thinking about this Saturday with Cook in charge?
If Cook was in charge, I'd probably be a little bit more confident, if I'm honest, because you've got the games that we played at, Portsmouth, Wickham, getting good wins there. So it could happen again. But I'm just thinking that McGreal's got to learn all of these players' traits and what they're like, etc., etc. So for me, it just doesn't make any sense to then bring an interim in for the next couple of games. I think you bring an interim in if you're going to sack a manager with 3 or 4 games left of the season. Really, I don't see why you would want to do it just before a pack-out PR game and a Christmas rush of games.
Well, I think you do it. Is that why you do it though? Because you've got the pack-out PR and you have to be seen to be keeping on top of it and giving fans enthusiasm. Because Crunch has got every single, Tom, Dick, and Harry there. I feel sorry for them personally, and they're going to hate you, and I can't blame them. Because you've really strung on the kipper here. Let's be honest. But is that why you do it? Because you've got that on the horizon, and if you go into Sunderland off the back of being beaten by Charlton, being beaten by Wigan, or drawing, and you're bumbling and you're fumbling and you're not doing great, you've got to be proactive. Is that why we've done it?
Well, yeah, I mean, Ashton's acted on the fact that the last couple of games at home have been poor in terms of performances. Obviously, the Barrow game wasn't great either. So he's looking at the pack-out PR campaign and obviously the Christmas fixtures, thinking that, if we get a new manager in, a John McGreal, whoever, it could be a new manager bounce and we go on to, produce a bit of form. But you have to have that manager in there. And I just don't understand what McGreal's going to offer. Even if he had won last night, I just don't get what his role is.
Well, his role is to just come in and be a steady pair of hands, leave us in the best place he can be, and really, in all honesty, deliver what he can. Because I had both these games as defeats, and then Paul Cook going on the Monday or the Tuesday, and for the very same reasons as we're saying here. However, looking at the diary, we sit here on Wednesday the 8th. Obviously, Sunderland is Saturday the 18th, 10 days away. You've got to have a manager. Have you got to have a manager in place, Crunch, by at least the Sunday afternoon to take charge on the Saturday? Or do you need him in place before Wigan even to give him a chance to sit in the stands, watch his team, and then take charge Monday morning, Friday, or is it going to be Sunderland just scrubbed off? The bloke paraded around the pitch, maybe, and it's seen as
football can move really quickly, Martin. We're sitting here Wednesday night. By Friday, they could have had. You look at the betting. You look at the betting, and there's no one in there really jumps out on me. He said they've had a lot of agents putting their managers' names forward when managers haven't even sort of put their name forward. So I'd have to sift through them. But I think it was Lewis Mitchell's comment there a while back in the chat there, Martin, about Mike O'Leary seems real. He's a down-to-earth guy. Now, he doesn't strike me as a type of guy who wouldn't have a plan B. No. He hasn't just gone along with Mark Ashton, has he?
Yeah.
No.
I don't know, but by Sunderland, we have to have someone. Someone's got to be in that dugout, Martin. They have to be. Why wait for January?
Exactly. But to be in that dugout, when ideally for you, do you need to have that scarf, that shirt, picture announcement? Really? Because are you going to throw a manager in without having seen the team play?
Well, McGreal's been thrown in without seeing the team play,
and we've seen how that turned out last night.
Exactly.
So what when do you think between now and Wigan, now and Sunderland, would you ideally, if you could pinpoint
Yesterday.
Yes, well, that's very true. Yeah, it's a silly question. You are right.
It needs to be done yesterday, this morning. A call needs to be going in. It depends what your manager is. It depends what your manager's situation is. If he's out of work, get him in. Right,
Lewis Robinson, great point.
But
look how quickly Lowe left Plymouth.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. But it depends what manager you're going with. If you're going with a manager that's currently out of work, get on the phone to him, job done. But if it's a manager that's currently in work, obviously that's a little bit more difficult. But at the same time, conversation needs to be happening now. You know, make that approach. Do it now.
Okay. Absolutely. I agree with you. Crunch, any final thoughts before we go on to score predictions for Wigan?
No, look, it's a massive game. The players have got to... Look, whoever comes out who's put up for the interview, probably Friday, Martin, the player, they'll say all the right things. They'll say the things that we all know they're going to say, but do we really believe them? At 3 o'clock on Saturday, when you get down to Wigan, come on, you've got to show something. You have to... Yeah. You said you were going to do it last night and you didn't. Prove us wrong, you know. Yeah. We're all here. We're expecting a defeat Saturday, aren't we? We're going out to Wigan. We think we're going to get slapped. If we play like we did last night, we will. It'd be 3 or 4-0, no doubt. It can't be. It has to be a lot better than that. If we lose by giving a performance, Martin, I can handle that. It doesn't matter. Driving home, I'll still be pissed off we've lost, but at least they've showed a bit. If I'm driving home Saturday night and they've put in another limp performance like that, I'll have steam coming out my ears again.
Yeah. And we'll be right here to capture it all. So, Wigan, you're confident? You're not? I'm going to tell you how I feel about it first, and then you can chime in, Tux. I think we're going to haphazardly fall into a victory somehow, some way. That will put some fans into the questioning mindset of maybe McGreal with a bit more time can get something out of this team, as he has done this week. And I'm more confident now than I was with Cook, because I felt Cook and Richardson, best friends, know each other really well, cancel each other out, not going to get anything from the game. So I think we're going to win 2-1. How about you, Tux? What do you see from this weekend?
Well, I wish I was as positive as you looking at the weekend's game.
Get the sign up. Get the sign up.
It's ripped up, mate.
I know. Sad times. Sad. Look at that. Look.
One
of us.
I think with the weekend, you know, it's obviously another big game. All of these games are big games. But because it's a, you know, promotion kind of rival, if you like, then, you know, we just need to put a performance in. And I feel like, I don't know, I just go back to the fact that, like, you know, for me, McGreal doesn't really offer anything for me that's any different to what Cook would probably be doing. So, especially on an interim basis, if you had the job till the end of the season, then fine. But, you know, for the next couple of games, I don't see what he can really offer. So I'm hoping that, you know, hopefully by now until Saturday, we might even try and get a new manager in or something like that. But I'd very much doubt it. But I think in terms of result, I can't see anything based on last night. I can't see anything other than a loss, unfortunately.
See, you're one of us now, Tux. You're really a fully fledged negative fan. It's so good to see. Welcome to Talking Town, ladies and gentlemen. For fans, by fans, just the fans that are negative. What do you think?
I can't put a positive spin on it, Martin.
That's not a fucking surprise, is it?
There's nothing to be positive about at the minute. We ain't scored 6 in the last 9 games. We ain't scored.
Yeah. 10 days ago, we were having arguments in the WhatsApp group because I was saying Cook out and you were saying, too knee jerk. And then suddenly, overnight, it went like
I'm not saying he shouldn't have gone. I'm just saying if he's gone, you should have a fucking plan and someone to get in. Now we got John McGreal, who was a League 2 manager, just sort of fell into the job because he came in on the Friday and he was with the 23s.
He came for a coffee and was given the
job.
Matt
Phillips said he's got all the bloody charisma of a bloody deflated paddling pool.
I was just going to say that. Can I just say I was a little bit disappointed with John McGreal's performance last night. For someone who was, it's my club, everything else. This could be the only time you manage your club, right? He didn't come over to the fans once until the end when he was trying to drag someone off. I thought that was a little bit off. I know maybe he just wanted he didn't want the, you know, whole thing of, you know, look at me type thing. But if this is your club, you try and get the fans up. Really, I would have thought with 3,000 fans there at Charlton, there was none of that. I thought that was a bit disappointing, if I'm honest.
Yeah, and I also find what I find disappointing is the fact that there's 274 people watching us on YouTube right now and only 28 likes. That is flipping disappointing. That is equally as disappointing. So if you're getting something from this show, hit that like button. Otherwise, Tux will come after you with his intro. All right, you've been warned. But you are right. That is disappointing. I did think he was a bit cold last night.
Yeah.
But then maybe again he doesn't want it. Maybe he turned up just to help out Dyer and the under 23s.
But it doesn't matter if you want it. You're in the hot seat for that point in time, that game. You might have another game, yes, but for that game, 3,000 fans at Charlton, at least go and give them a fist pump or something. Do you know what I mean? Those kind of things.
Not back to the fist pumps.
Well, you know what I mean, though. Just try and get him up, G him up a little bit.
Yeah. Lewis Robinson, Marcus Stewart said the other day, McGrill get his head down, tries to go about his business. Tim says, bit harsh up. McGrill only had a day to train, speak to media and plan a team. Cookie to link up with Richardson at Wigan again, says Trevor Amos. Don't think that would work. The dynamic would be all wrong, I think. And why would you want to do it if you're Richardson? You're flying high. Score crunch from Saturday, did you say it or did I miss it?
No, I think it depends. Are
you going?
Of course I'm fucking going. I'm going up Friday night.
Of course.
I'm going to go to Barrow on Wednesday.
Oh, you do like misery, don't you?
Yeah.
Oh, you are a pit of misery.
They were off today, They had a day off, and I think
they did.
Fuck me. I'd have had I'll tell you what, as soon as I pulled up with that bus at the training ground, put the fucking lights on. We're out on the grass. Come on.
Not Sunday morning, mate.
Oh, no, it's not. It depends. I just think there's got to be a few changes, surely, for that team. He fair enough, he had one training session, and he was probably going to play 95% of the same players. He's seen them in action now. It was interesting that Humphreys was on the bench, a young player. Obviously, Dyer's had him with him. I wouldn't be surprised, Martin, if he started Humphreys. It might be. It might be. Look, it's a big call in a big game at Wigan, but Kyle Edwards hasn't shown anything on that left-hand side. Chuck a youngster in, see how he can sink or swim.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, absolutely, why not?
Up front, Bon. I wouldn't play Bon. I think he's been off the pace lately. Piggott, I'd go two up front. I can't see nothing other than a defeat, Martin. I like to be positive. I'd like to see what Colin says, because Colin is the most optimistic Town fan.
He said 3-2 win.
Fucking hell, what a game that was. I'm more interested. What kit are we going to wear?
Probably the what? Oh, I don't know, actually. Good question. No, interesting one, that one.
It'd be the Barcelona one, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Surely. We'll bust that off.
Hopefully we'll fucking play like Barcelona.
Well, we won't fucking play. I don't think Morsey's turning fucking prime fucking Xavi.
Why not?
And Lee Evans is all going to go all fucking...
Did you hear about Xavi in charge of Barcelona? He's arrived, doubled the training sessions, done all this different stuff, and they've gone backwards instead of... Brilliant. I'll get the actual stats for Friday's show. It's so good what he's done.
Score prediction, 3-0 Wigan.
Okay, all right. 4-0?
3-0.
3-0. So why are you bothering going? Why would you go all that way?
I booked this a while ago when we were half decent.
Yeah. Barcelona mid-table, says Lloyd. James Mann should have kept Cook. Last 4 games aside, we've improved. The football is better and the players are capable of beating anyone in this league. Inconsistent, but Cook got it right. Disagree with that point, James, but thank you for making it.
Well, I'm hoping Wes Burns might be somewhere near fitness, Martin, because we haven't touched on him. He's a massive... We can't just miss one player, though, can we? That says a lot to me. If we're one player, you take out the team and we're like... Well, I really hope that he plays, because Bond misses him as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, Bond does miss him. Wilkins playing really well.
Aaron Drennan's playing really well as well.
Yeah, but Wilkins doing it in our league, Tux. Aaron Drennan's doing it in the Dog and Duck League, all right? Against Swindon. McGrill was there for a month and he realised what a basket case was going on here and fucking bailed. Drennan's knocking 2 or 3 past him. That's not something to be celebrating. But I do take the point on board. Third striker he could have been. Anyway, so what are our overall thoughts for tonight's show then? Are we Are we any more better to resolving the angst of last night, Rich?
Was a day removed, didn't we? Got the cricket in 2 hours. That could make me a little happier. Probably won't. Not a lot. I'm still angry, but Saturday it's another game, isn't it? In football is a weird game, Martin. I do get that, but we have to have a shot on target first to score a goal. Just tell Colin that. Three goals. Is he sure?
Yeah, he reckons he's probably had a bang on his head. Must have done. I think he was going to score 3. I mean, then again, we beat Wigan 4-1. I mean, that seems like a month ago. It was a month ago, but it seems like years ago. Fucking idiots. All right, I'm going to go to bed, I think. Right, we're back Friday, 8:30. Myself, Lewis Robinson, and Matt Phillips, because that man there is going to Wigan for John McGrill's press conference reaction show. But until then, support us through Ko-Fi. If you get value from our show,
you've riveting watching that, Will.
Yes. What will?
John McGrill's press conference.
Yeah, but we'll make it better. We'll make it more colourful. Don't worry. Yeah. We'll bring the talking town spin to it. It's what we do. But if you do like what we do get value, do enjoy us, hit the like button to support us on Ko-Fi. Mike Baker. Oh, well, football rant done. So time for me swearing at the England cricket team. Terry says, still got Nolan to come back and save the season.
Where is he? Where is John Nolan?
That could be a great Christmas series, couldn't it? Where's John Nolan? And he's like a series of football scenes. And you've got to try and find John Nolan.
John McGrill on Friday, how he's progressing.
Yeah,
please.
Yeah. I mean, you've just tweet the reporters crunch. Say, here's my list of questions you need to ask this week, please.
Just find out where he is, because I'd love to know.
We're on a weekend away with Emily Hughes. Well, I mean, he used to be on the face of the earth, abducted by aliens, I think. Stephen says, great show it was. Right, that man there is Mark Tuxford, Peaky Blind. I'm sorry about the intro. Here's the Cruncher. I'm the Gov. Until next time, hopefully we report some better news. Maybe a managerial incoming tomorrow or whenever. But until then, with love, with care.
Ready? You got your graphics ready for the new manager?
Oh, I don't need that.
We're on a journey. Looking back on the things that we've taken for granted, but feels like we're learning to be better without what's been holding us back now.